The dangers of the law of commitment and consistency. One of the laws of influence is the law of commitment and consistency. If you are a persuader, it's much easier to get somebody to do something that they've already done. So if you've got an idea of something you want them to do, find similar things they've done in their past. That way, the thing you are asking them to do will seem more familiar, and they'll be more likely to take the action that you'd like them to take. This is why it's much easier to sell new products to existing customers than to sell existing products to new customers. Here are some experimental data that highlight the power of the law of commitment and consistency. In Dr. Cialdini's book, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, they referenced this study. First, they took a big neighborhood and split it into two halves. In one half, they asked all the residents to put a big, huge sign on their front lawn. They all said no. In the second half, they asked the residents to put a very small sign in their front window. A lot of them said yes. Then later in that same neighborhood, they went back and asked the small sign people to put up the big sign. And some people said yes. So they kind of warmed up the people in the second neighborhood by asking them to do a simple thing first. Then that bigger thing, the bigger sign in their front lawn, seemed familiar. This is why salespeople get you to comply in any way possible. Here, sit down. Come on, follow me. Here, let's go over here. Here, fill out this form. The hope is that you'll fall into an obedient following trance. So when it comes time to buy the product, that's just one more yes and a long string of yeses. This law of persuasion is also why end-of-the-world cults don't fall apart when the end of the world doesn't come. The members of these cults quit their jobs, sell all their stuff, and tell everybody they know that the end of the world is coming. But when the end of the world doesn't come, for some reason, they don't feel silly. They don't admit they were wrong and beg for their jobs back. They actually double down on their belief in this crazy doomsday cult. Why? Because of the strength of commitment and consistency. Making plenty of public statements about their belief in the cult becomes much more compelling than the actual logical mistake that they made. This law of persuasion and many other laws are much more ancient and live much deeper in our subconscious than our logical thinking mind. These laws of persuasion are much stronger, much more compelling than simple logic. They are very irrational and likely a holdover from our ancient evolutionary past. The problems come when we ourselves fall into these traps. We do things, but only because we've done them before. This is where the so-called fallacy of sunk costs comes in. We are doing something hoping to get an outcome. You do it for a while, but you still don't get that outcome. Logically, it doesn't make sense to continue. But because it feels so instinctively compelling to keep doing what we have been doing, we continue. But we need a rational sounding reason to give ourselves. And that reason is the fallacy of sunk costs. Since we've already put in so much effort, it would seem like a waste to stop now. At least that's what we tell ourselves. But think of it this way. Imagine you're at your friend's house. You're on the way to somewhere cool, and you decided you'd stop by and pick up your friend on the way there. And we'll have to imagine no cell phones for this metaphor. Anyhow, you knock on their door, but you're not getting any answer. And you stand there for 5 minutes knocking on their door. In this example, it's pretty easy to see how continued knocking will not increase the likelihood that they will answer the door. But the fallacy of sunk costs would say, well, I've already been knocking for 5 minutes. It would be a waste to give up now. I'll just keep knocking for another 10 or 20 minutes. The diabolical problem of the law of commitment and consistency is when we continue behavior for years when it's clear that behavior is not going to get us anything good. Bad relationships, bad jobs, bad investments, bad habits, they all feel comfortable because of the law of commitment and consistency. But this is just an instinctive feeling, not a rational, logical idea. One measure of a successful human is how we can understand and manage our instincts instead of just mindlessly obey them. This, of course, is very, very difficult. Our instincts are extremely compelling, sometimes too compelling to ignore. They don't have an off switch. But if you let this particular instinct, commitment and consistency, go unchecked, you could spend your entire life on devastatingly mediocre autopilot. Check your instincts. Use your rational mind to make better decisions and start to live a better life. If you'd like to learn more about human nature, persuasion, influence, so you can live a much better, much more enjoyable, and much more profitable life, please visit mindpersuasion.com. We've got plenty of books and courses all designed to help you succeed even more. And because it is our goal to make you more persuasive, more charismatic, and more confident, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll enjoy a continuous stream of videos all designed to give you a deeper insight into human nature and communication. And please let us know in the comments the kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. Thank you for watching.